Hello there. What's going on, FA Nation? Howard Bender here. James Grande there. Time to start talking MLB DFS. Big ol' slate tonight. 14 games. I can't say big ol' because the Cubs played earlier, and so we've got only 14 games today. But let's start off here. Broadcasting YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, whatever. You got any questions you want to throw our way, go ahead, do it. We're more than happy to answer any and all questions. Before we start talking about this slate in general here, I do want to get James. I want to talk to you because we were just talking on the before we came on here, and talk to me a little bit about playing DFS now here in September, because I was just talking on SiriusXM how I hate NFL DFS in the preseason because you never know what's going on.
Right.
You never know how many snaps the guy's going to take, how many series he's going to play. I kind of feel like we're tilting in that same direction, or at least you feel we're tilting in that same direction for MLB here.
I mean, yeah, I think it's the same thing almost. Obviously, we have different sports, but the teams that suck essentially are trying new things. They're playing players that they don't normally play, batting them in weird spots. We're seeing regulars not get the same type of at-bats. Good teams that are in a really good position, that are trying to save their arms, for come October, aren't going to be pitching, using their pitchers deep into games. They're not letting these pitchers go 110 pitches, 115 pitches. So it's murky waters, especially when we get to a 14-game slate. We really have to kind of hone in on teams that are in races. All the teams that are in division race, a pennant race, any type of wild card chase. They're going to be the teams that are throwing their guys out full force because they need wins. So I think generally that's who, going forward, those are the guys we want to approach, kind of maybe the pitchers we want to use. Pretty much the pitchers that we're going to go over tonight are all guys within a race, are all guys vying for a playoff spot, which, it isn't a coincidence. So it's just be smart about your builds. When you're using like a Dave Roberts pitcher or, a Royals pitcher, you never know what's going to happen. So just proceed with caution when you're playing DFS from now until the end of the year.
I can dig that. I can definitely dig that. And yeah, it's a lot. So I'm guessing you're going to be tilting towards a lot of NL pitchers as opposed to AL pitchers. Those races have all seemed to be kind of cinched up for the most part here. As always, we'd like to start with the weather concerns. There's really not much going on tonight. White Sox, Tigers, A's, Twins. You might see a little something going on early on. Could be a possible delay. However, neither game looks like it's going to be postponed at any point. So I don't want to worry about that. What I do want to note is a couple of things about this slate. James, we got a core slate, 10.5 implied run total here. Indians, super high implied run total. Dodgers, super high implied run total. Obviously, that puts them on as the chalk here. Do you still kind of tilt towards them, or are you, because of the state of DFS right now in MLB, are you possibly fading the chalk so that you can differentiate yourself in the GPP packs?
I think you could do both. Like, I think it's always a good idea to get some chalk into your cash game lineups. If you're still playing cash at this point in the season, I heavily disagree with that. But there are the guys that can't seem to not play cash games. There will always be the players that are playing double ups, triple ups. And I do think you want to eat some chalk in cash games, but tournaments, you can get crazy going down the slate. Or down the stretch here. I do really like both the Indians and the Dodgers. But I think, Coors is going to be chalky because it's Coors. And I think it's a very fadeable game today because both pitchers in this game have actually been pretty good of late. Antonio Senzatella and Mikolas have been both pretty well, been pitching pretty well. So if that's chalk you want to fade, I think you do it. The Dodgers and the Indians, I think, are both in primary spots. So I don't think they are teams you do want to or teams you don't want to fade tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, let's give the positional rundown here. Let's start with the starting pitching. Where are you leaning most? Most. Yeah, I'll just say most. Not everywhere, but where are you? Yeah, most.
I mean, I think he's going to be the highest owned pitcher of the night, and for good reason. And that's Mike Foltynewicz. He gets the Marlins. He comes in scorching hot, 7 shutout innings his last game against the Rockies, 9 strikeouts. His last 3 strikeout totals, 9.77, and he hasn't allowed more than an earned run in all 3. So
9.77, dude. I was told not to call those numbers. My mom would get super pissed off when I was growing up calling those numbers.
Well, then maybe
you're too young. Never mind. You don't even get that reference. You're so young.
I'm sorry, but I was gonna say maybe that's a sign to not play Foltynewicz tonight. But I guess there was a deeper meaning to it. So I think we should just roll with Foltynewicz. Screw the deeper meaning part. I think next, if you don't want to pay for Foltynewicz, a little cheaper. You're not gonna save much money, at least on DraftKings. I mean, he's a little less expensive on FanDuel. He's $1,000 cheaper on FanDuel than Foltynewicz, but Mike Clevenger also in a great spot, also comes into this game pitching well. So I think Foltynewicz is 1A, and then Clevenger is 1B on this slate. If you want to save the $1,000 over on FanDuel or the $500 on DraftKings, you can obviously go down to Clevenger. The Royals, obviously not a good offense, 3.65 implied runs, nothing much. And Rich Hill, only tournaments because I mentioned Dave Roberts is a psychopath. Rich Hill could literally go out there and throw 4 perfect innings, and he'll say, you know what, that's enough. You did great tonight, but we're gonna pull you. We don't want the blisters to magically come back.
Dude, Zeus is telling us everything we need to know right now. You say Rich Hill, and Zeus is in the background being like, "Woof woof, no, don't do it, don't do it, woof woof, don't do it." So yeah,
talk about a sign. Okay, talk about a sign. The Mike Foltynewicz thing out the window, but Rich Hill is now off the board. Zeus has spoken. I'm off Rich Hill. That's it. I don't need to go. I'm not talking about Rich Hill anymore. I refuse. He's done.
You should let Zeus join in here and start picking some players for us, dude. All right. So if Zeus says no to Rich Hill, and I love you, Zeus, for doing that because I hate Rich Hill. Right, Rich Hill pitching with that Jean-Pierre Paul hand of blisters, disgustingness there. Who does Zeus say is the value play here for tonight on the pitching slate?
He's still going about Rich Hill. I don't know if you can hear it. He's still worked up. So I think if we're going down to the mid tier, he's a little expensive on DraftKings, and I don't love him there, but I tend to veer towards the top of the pitching slate tonight as opposed to the value. I think the value is full of trash cans, but CeCe's coming back kind of faster than we thought. So the knee has been a problem for a little bit. And it's a glaring issue, but let me sell you on him real quick.
All right, go ahead, sell me.
The knee has been kind of an ongoing issue all year, and on top of that, it's been an issue. It was an issue in his last start, the start that he threw 6 scoreless innings and had 7 strikeouts against a very hot Rangers team in Yankee Stadium. So he now gets the 28th ranked Baltimore offense against left-handers since the All-Star break. He has 19 strikeouts in his last 2 starts, and I don't think the Yankees, who are still trying to chase the Red Sox, I say that loosely because it's such a, but we've seen crazier things in a pennant race. I don't think they're stupid enough as an organization to bring someone back who is older than dirt, who's been pitching for 30 years in professional baseball, and say, you know what, this could be your last start of the year, but let's use you against the Orioles. So, I don't think they would do that. So to me, that all points to CeCe being more than okay. I'm not saying go out there and plug him into a cash game and, rah-rah, but in a tournament, again, in such a juicy matchup, and a guy who's he only missed 1 turn in the rotation. So he's going to be at, the 100 pitches that he was at the 2 games prior. I think CC is in a great spot tonight, and I think he is fully healthy, and I'm going to use him in a lot of tournaments tonight.
Yeah, listen, you know what? No Machado, no Scope. You put the Orioles up against left-handed pitching. That's the big deal. Well, we've been targeting against the Orioles throughout the season because of just such lousy.
Right.
They've been consistently crappy. So you put them up against a big southpaw like CC in a GPP. Yeah, I can get down with that. I can definitely get down with that. Anybody else you're looking at value-wise?
Like I said, it's really gross, and it's like you're gonna react the same way we did last time we did this, and I said Kevin Gausman's name, Gio Gonzalez.
I don't hate Gio, and lefties always get like a little extra look.
But it's not the same Gio Gonzalez we've seen over the last couple of years. I mean, the guy gave up 8 earned runs to the Marlins his last start, and he was the chalk play of the slate. He was the chalk. I remember it. I did the optimals that day, and I was not happy with the end result because every time you're in a spot with the Marlins, it's a crush spot. I just started off this segment by saying Mike Foltynewicz. But he gets the Mets. He's been really good against the Mets this year. 3 earned, over 10 innings. 2.53 ERA. He's a big favorite. I mean, I like the favorite here. 6.4K for a guy against a bad lineup. I think there's not a lot of good options, and 6.4K is way too good to pass up. I got you.
All right, let's roll through the offense. I think we're comfortable with the pitching. It's all Foltynewicz. Clevenger we like. Zeus hates Rich Hill, so we're going to scratch him. Try out CC and don't let the recency bias get you on Gio. You can probably go back to him. The Mets blow. So, all right, let's talk hitting. Start behind the plate here. I'm looking at your list of guys here. The only one who I actually own on a seasonal fantasy team is Wilson Ramos, but talk to me. Can I use more than just him?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think it's easy to – I think the play at catcher tonight, because we're going to be paying up for pitcher primarily, so I think the play is to spend down. But if we are spending up, it's definitely Wilson Ramos. We get the home run upside. I mean, he's just a really good hitter, quite frankly. And he gets a lefty. But I also think it's the catchers and cores. Yadi Molina hitting second against, it doesn't really matter who's pitching in cores necessarily. Anyone could snap off at any point. And Tony Walters, for a guy who's not great, is 3.3K in cores. So that is pretty good value for anybody that gets the course field advantage. So, I really like him. And James McCann, I think, is the top value on the board. And not to bring up ownership necessarily, because it's a 14-game slate, and ownership isn't a huge factor. But I think McCann's going to be pretty highly owned. He has the great BVP numbers against Reynaldo Lopez. And, he's just so cheap everywhere. So I think it's a pretty easy plug and play in cash games, tournaments, whatever you want. Just go with it and just move on. He's so cheap. You don't need to really go anywhere else.
Yeah, I'm great with just kind of punting the catcher position at times. If you can get away with a guy like McCann, even Walters at 33, that's not bad.
Yep.
Especially considering it's a core slate. Let's talk first base here. Goldschmidt, obviously, he's got 14-game hit streak right now that the dude's on. That to me is as money in the bank as you can possibly get. I don't like to screw around and punt at first base, but I'm sure that there are some value plays too. Where are you going here?
Well, yeah, if you're spending up, outside of, if you're on cores, you're on cores. Obviously, that's a stand you're going to take. That's kind of a stand that you're going to take going in today. Okay, I love cores, whatever. If you're not on cores,
let's fade cores. Let's fade cores for the rest of this show.
Okay, completely fine. So I think Goldschmidt, possibly outside of Chris Davis, I don't know, maybe 1A, 1B type players on this slate. 513 over his last 10 games. He's out of his freaking mind. This is the guy we've been waiting for and all year, and we're getting times 2, times 3. So, I mean, if you're spending up, it's Goldschmidt. I think if we go down to the mid-tier, John and I have touted this guy literally all week, and it's Kendrys Morales. And he's been money in the bank for us every time we've mentioned him. He's has 5 home runs in his last 4 games, 7-game hit streak. The price bump is a little, I mean, we were getting him at like 2.3 over on FanDuel, and we were getting him at 3 point something on DK. Now he's over 4K and he's over 3K, but there's just an undeniable hotness to Morales right now, and I think we got to take advantage of that. If we're going down, I have 2 just kind of off the board plays because I think, like you said, I don't necessarily like punting first base. I think it's such a big time position. We have Carpenter and Goldschmidt right there at the top, who are almost guaranteed big points every night, or the upside is just a monster night. Tyler Austin, who hits lefties great. That swing plays so great against a lefty because he just sprays the ball to right field. And the numbers back it up: 1,000 OPS, 417 WOBA against left-handers. And Manaea is really good at times, but he's also very streaky. And then really, like, off the board, 33-year-old Jim Adducci for the Tigers. I mean, he gets a really nice matchup against the White Sox and multiple hits in 3 of his last 4 games. He's been hitting right in the heart of that Tigers order too. So I think if you're really punting this position, I think Adduci is going to be like point something percent owned. So
okay.
I think that's like a really, really contrarian way to go.
I like it, and especially when you're also looking at FanDuel and you can use that utility spot there. You could get Goldschmidt and Adduci, Goldschmidt and Tyler Austin in there. And you can tell that first base from James right now has got the Zeus seal of approval. We haven't heard a single bark, which means that Zeus is just licking himself while he's thinking about first base. So
probably.
I tend to do that when I think about Paul Goldschmidt on my fantasy teams. You might want to check that out in DFS. Second base, let's see. Is Zeus going to lick himself or is he going to bark? Jose Altuve.
Yeah.
He's licking himself.
He's coming alive. He's only been back for 2 games, and he's already stolen a base, which we didn't see a ton of before the injury. Which I guess across baseball, we haven't seen the stolen bases up, but 2 hits yesterday, a stolen base, an RBI. I think this is the Altuve that we're going to see the remainder of the year. And we are never going to see his price at 4.5K over on DraftKings again, because as soon as he starts hitting, 3.7K on FanDuel as well. He's never going to be under 4K ever again. So I think, like, just maybe based on a price point, we need to play him. Plus, I mean, he's notorious. He hits everyone, but he's been fantastic against lefties his whole career. I think Robinson Cano right there in that similar price point is a fantastic play as well. I mean, he's been on a little roll, 5-game hit streak, 4 extra base hits. He's hit righties all year, 310 average, 375 WOBA. I think Cano is in a really good spot. We get the Brian Dozier versus a left-hander narrative. I mean, he's been good against lefties his whole career. We alluded to it earlier during a live stream when you were actually on. It was like a little after the whole heart thing. Something's been off, and maybe it was the heart all year, but I don't think that Brian Dozier is this bad of a hitter at all. I think he's been better lately, and I think the top value play of the slate resides at second base. Lourdes Gurriel. He's negatively priced on FanDuel. He's the slate minimum. He's off the DL. 2K, and he's leading off. He hits 350 against righties. So I think you just plug him in to literally all your cash games, and even if you want to just plug him in. I mean, I've already mentioned Morales. I've mentioned Gurriel. I mean, the Blue Jays, they don't have. Okay, so their implied run total right now is mid-4s, not even mid-4s. So they kind of feel a little sneaky to me. I mean, I don't know. The Gurriel and Morales combination alone, I love. And then there's some outfielders we're going to get to also in Toronto. I know Jake Arrieta's been better, but the prices on these guys are so enticing. So I think Gurriel is the top value on the board, not just at second base. I think he's just a top value play across the board.
Okay, so should I pull Jake Arrieta out of my starting lineup in my seasonal league right now?
I mean, I think like I said, he's been improved. Like there's vast improvements for this is like but the inconsistency, 5 earned runs against San Diego. Then he jumps back and he gets the Mets and he dominates the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Boston Red Sox to start before the Padres. So I mean, there's obviously life. We didn't see this earlier in the year or last year from Arrieta. Maybe he's back on the Peds. Wink, wink, hint, hint. Is
it Peds or is it Peds?
I don't know.
I guess if you're looking at it as like Pez the candy, then I guess maybe it is Peds. All right, dude, what are you drinking there?
This is Code Red.
What is Code Red?
A big mountain. I'm a big Mountain Dew guy. So Code Red is the.
It comes in a mason jar. Or you're like spilling it out of a.
This was given to me by my the apartment complex I live at. No free ads. I'll cover the. You
can throw it up. Oasis, where you can put all your Mountain Dew. All right, listen, dude, you know what? I've got a Red Bull addiction, so I've got nothing to say. I was just curious, man. It looked like you were drinking like plum wine or something like that. I was like, I don't know, man. All right, so second base covered. We love Lourdes Gurriel. We love the value here that we're getting for the Toronto Bats. Let's move over to third base. Talk to me here, third base. Jose Ramirez, obviously, he's everybody's favorite. But, I mean, what is he? He's like 5K plus?
5K would be a bargain. Would be a DraftKings bargain for him. If he was 5K, he'd be a plug and play. Honestly,
he's like seriously priced like a second tier pitcher.
Yeah, he's let's so he's 5.7K. He is priced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 7 pitchers that are less expensive than Jose Ramirez on tonight's slate.
Yeah, I think that says it all.
But Cleveland happens to have the highest implied total on the slate. He's in the heart of an MVP race. He's hit like all his home runs from the left side. So yeah, I mean, it's just impossible. Like if you just magically have that amount of money, if you don't spend up on Goldschmidt, if you don't spend up on Chris Davis, if you don't spend up on Ronald Acuna, yeah. Jose Ramirez is a top, a tier 1B player on this slate, but you can't go wrong with him. I don't know if we have the money, so I think going down to another player in Justin Turner and the Dodgers, we mentioned in the start, the Dodgers are slightly behind the Indians for the highest implied run total. So,
Cody Bellinger's not even in the lineup, too.
Cody Bellinger not in the lineup against the lefty, not totally surprising. But Turner 9 for 21 off Clayton Richards, and I know it pains John so badly behind the scenes that we are crapping all over Clayton Richard right now because it's like his favorite pitcher ever. But he's on the road, and if any time he's on the road, it's all in, baby, against Clayton Richard. Now I don't touch him at home. I learned my lesson. John taught me better to stack against Clayton Richard at home. But 9 for 21 with a home run. Turner's hitting 365 against lefties this year. I think it's a no-brainer. He's not expensive anywhere. He's a very nice price. He's also hasn't been great, so that could lead into it. But I think this is a clear bounce back spot. And then I think if we're going down, a guy we mentioned literally every time we get a lefty, David Freese. He's never priced
always
too high.
Low.
He's always in the middle of that Pirates, and it's a good Pirates lineup. There's Starling Marte and Corey Dickerson are always on base in front of him. So he's 6 for 15 off Wade Miley, 340 WOBA, 286 average against lefties. I think Freeze is the no-brainer down in the value tier on today's slate.
All right. Who do you think John and Pemba loves more? Clayton Richard at home?
Clayton Richard.
Or Herman Marquez on the road?
Dude.
Oh, right? See?
It's Herman Marquez.
Herman Marquez. Easily Herman Marquez, he says. I love the fact that our producers can chime in now. I had Edward doing that yesterday on the NFL live stream. So God bless you there, Johnny boy. God bless. So it's Herman Marquez. I knew it, dude.
Death taxes, Herman Marquez on the road.
Absolutely. Clayton Richard at home. There you go.
Clayton Richard at home.
Quick, everybody on DraftKings, get John and Pemba in on a one-on-one matchup here, head-to-head play them. But just make sure that you lock down Clayton Richard at home, Herman Marquez on the road.
Imagine they were both pitching on the same slate. Oh, my God.
Against each other. How about this? In Colorado, in San Diego, Clayton Richard on the mound against Herman Marquez.
He'd bite the bullet and play both.
You think his head would explode?
I just think he would play both. I think he wouldn't know what to do, and he'd just play both.
How hairy?
Same lineup.
How hairy do you think his palms would be? How hairy? Like super hairy.
As hairy as Zeus's palms are.
Oh, Zeus, who has not said anything
since we can't say the name. We don't want to get him riled up.
Yeah, right. No, not talking about that pitcher. All right, let's hit shortstop here, and then we can finish it off with the outfield. I have a very sneaky suspicion I know which outfielders you're going to want to talk about. But talk to me about the shortstop position here. Can we throw it away, or do we have to beg, borrow, and steal to get Francisco Lindor in there?
Well, I mean, I think Lindor is the top play, but I think it's a toss-up kind of between him and Xander Bogaerts. The Red Sox lineup hasn't been this great lately, but Xander Bogaerts has been great lately. 10 RBIs in his last 10 games. He's hitting for power. 8 extra base hits in his last 10 games alone. I think if you're spending up tonight, I think Bogaerts is Lindor is just probably going to be chalkier because the Indians' run total is superior. But I think Bogaerts is the yes, Howard?
I'm just listening. I'm just absorbing, dude. Oh,
sorry.
I'm just absorbing. Jeez.
I wasn't totally sure. I thought there was something coming there.
Oh, that's my pensive, thoughtful. Okay, I hear what you're saying. Kind of face there.
I go with I go with one of those because I usually can't grow facial hair, so I'm lucky when I have it. So I have to, I play with it when I get the chance.
Dude, Johnny said that you actually shaved your back and taped it to your chin so that way it looked like you had more than you did.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, back. The back, yes.
That's what I said. I said your back. Come on. Really? I don't think you got pubes on your chin. Maybe that's what everybody says about you behind your back, but I don't think that was the case. Shortstop? You were saying?
Yeah, so I think
Echeverria?
Yeah, another Pirates value. One of John's favorite value plays actually. And you know what? The Pirates have a very low implied total on today's slate, and Wade Miley has been good. Yeah, but he's Wade Miley. We haven't really gotten a good version of Wade Miley in quite some time. So I think it's going to explode sooner than later, and I think this is a sneaky 14 game if you're building multiple lineup stack. Echeverria is really cheap across the board, and he's hitting nearly 330 against lefties, which is weird to say because he's never been able to hit anywhere he's been. But versus lefties this year, he's good. And Marwin Gonzalez is an excellent play. He's weirdly positioned on DraftKings. He's a shortstop / outfielder, and over on FanDuel, he's a second baseman. So I think, I wish they were a little more, in sync with their positioning. I also wish that FanDuel allowed multi-eligible positions, but that's for a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother conversation. But I think Marwin, 3.4K. If you don't trust the Pirates bats, And if you don't trust Hechavarria, I think Gonzalez is a fantastic play. He's been raking in August, 319 average in August. And again, another guy who hits 5th, 6th generally. I know, with the full lineup back, he might hit 7th. But that lineup is so stacked that he could come up with multiple runners on every time he steps to the plate. We know he's always been a good hitter from the right side as well. So I think Hechavarria and Gonzalez are both really good plays in the mid and lower tier at shortstop.
All right, I can definitely dig that. I'm a big fan of Hechavarria tonight. I do like that matchup a lot. All right, let's finish it off with the outfield here. And I got to tell you, man, the first guy you're going to lead off with, and obviously he's going to be pricey, but, I mean, come on. Chris Davis right now is about to hit – the dude's about to hit 40 home runs for the 3rd straight season. You know who's done that? Nobody. Like, you talk about – I got to give a shout-out to Lore Michaels from Creative Sports 2.0. I mean, Lore is like a champion of Chris Davis, and rightfully so. Because this dude just rakes and rakes and rakes and rakes. And, I mean, he's like, Mantle didn't do it. Maris didn't do it. Blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it's like Chris Davis, how do you not fit? I mean, unless you got to go with Jose Ramirez as your third baseman, how do you not put Chris Davis into your lineup right now?
I mean, I agree because I said it to John earlier. We were having a little conversation earlier about baseball and amongst other things. Is there like when Chris Davis is doing what he's doing now, is there like anyone who produces more? Kind of like he is just in like an insane stretch, and he seems to do this every year where he goes on these tears, and it's like out of nowhere he's hit 15 home runs in like a 30-game span, and that's what we're on right this very moment. I think Chris Davis is the top play, kind of until proven otherwise, and it's crazy that. Yes, 5.3K is expensive, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other outfielders more expensive. And 2, I mean, I love all of them, but 2 I really, really love. But why not just save the money for a guy who's almost an automatic? It's like a couple weeks ago when we were touting Matt Carpenter. It felt like Matt Carpenter was coming to plate and hitting a home run every at-bat. That's literally what Davis is doing right now. I think he's the top play of the slate. Him and Goldschmidt, 1A, 1B. And you can save money off of David Peralta, who is also on a absolute tear. In a great spot tonight, hitting in Arizona, hitting third, hitting home runs, also like every time he steps up to the plate. Ronald Acuna Jr. against Dan Straley. Dan Straley is nobody. Acuna homered in 2 straight. But we can save a little money off Chris Davis, who's hotter than both of them. So, I mean, just play Chris Davis in cash. Play Chris Davis in tournaments. Play him wherever you want. In the home run, on FanDuel's home run little challenge that they have, they run out every night. Play him everywhere. I mean, it's just a lock right now. It's luck.
Listen, I'm not going to dispute it. Not at all, man. I'm telling you, when I remember when Lore took him in the 3rd round of a draft, and somebody on Twitter started to bash Lore for doing it, and Lore was like, "Really, dude? The guy, all he does is hit 40 home runs."
And it's not even September, and he has 39 home runs.
Exactly. So come on. I mean, I'm with you. So can we do it? Like, we're gonna have to kind of wrap things up because people have their lineups that they need to lock down. Can we do it, James? Can we go with Fulte and CeCe and Goldie and get Chris Davis in there and then bargain shop around the block for the rest of the team? Can we get that lineup going?
I think we can. So we mentioned James McCann spending down at catcher. We mentioned Lourdes Gurriel. Devin Travis, if we're playing DraftKings, Devin Travis, who is hitting 2nd in that Blue Jays lineup, is even cheaper than Gurriel on FanDuel. Also has been better since the All-Star break. Marwin Gonzalez, we also mentioned, 3.4K on DraftKings, hitting in an Astros lineup that it has one of the highest implied run totals every night. So there are 3 excellent value options on the board. I think it's going to be you're going to be pinching pennies to do it. It's going to be really hard. You can also fill your lineup with someone like Matt Kemp, who's 4.1K. He hasn't been great. I know. He's actually been really bad since the All-Star break. It's really bad. But Clayton Richard again. I guess the dogs do not. They just open the door.
See, there you go, man.
They are now behind me. They open the door.
What's up, pups?
There's a chance. There's many barks that they just opened the door handle. I just want to,
because Zeus was coming out being like, dude, you're not going to say his name again, all right? If you say Rich Hill, I'm going to kill. What, you're going to say it again? And
I don't know if you sensed the trend though. Okay, so we mentioned the Dodgers to start the show with a high run total. Mm-hmm. Then we mentioned Rich Hill started to park. Mm-hmm. Now we're talking about Matt Kemp.
Mm-hmm. Another
Dodger who is not, who is slumping, and he physically opened the door like a human being. I don't know if that's a sign being shot down from the big man upstairs, but I don't know. I think I'm off the Dodgers.
I like it.
I think I'm off the Dodgers. I don't know.
Zeus says fade the Dodgers. I'm going with Zeus here. I like Goldie. I like Davis. I like Fulte. I will give you Sabathia as the second guy. The bargain shop around that we've talked about here, absolutely. Zeus says fade the Dodgers. I'm going with Zeus.
Zeus, what do you say, buddy? Come here. What do you say?
Come here, Zeus.
Zeus, what do you say? Nothing?
Zeus is like, why are you showing my wiener to everybody, Dad? Stop showing my wiener to everybody.
Zeus.
Yeah, see, he's done with you.
Yeah, he's not. He's sick of the Dodgers tonight. He's
sick of the Dodgers. He's sick of you showing his wiener to everybody in fantasy alarm land here.
Also a chance that is the case.
All right. Well, just because it's all on your chin, dude, does not mean that we need to see it from Zeus. Guys, that's going to do it for us here on the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS live stream. I'm Howard Better. I have nothing good to say after all of that. James, any parting shots you want to take?
I literally have no words left.
None whatsoever.
I have nothing left.
May all your lineups cash. Don't forget to get the Fantasy Alarm NFL Draft Guide. We love you. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Later, guys.